The UK government has introduced measures it promised would deliver the biggest ever cut in net migration after levels soared to a record high. Home Secretary James cleverly announced a 5-point plan to curb immigration, which he said was far too high. The changes included hiking the minimum salary needed for skilled overseas workers from Ps 26,200 to 38,700. Mr. cleverly claimed 300,000 people who were eligible to come to the UK last year would not be able to in future. The minimum income for family visas has also risen to 38,700. In a statement to MPs, the Home Secretary said migration to the UK needs to come down and there had been abuse of health and care visas for years. Enough is enough, Mr. Cleverly said. Immigration policy must be fair, legal, and sustainable. The migration plan comes after official figures last month showed net migration had soared to a record 745,000 in 2022. Conservative MPs have since piled pressure on Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and his government to bring down net migration, which is the difference between those entering and leaving the UK. The sharp increase represents a huge political challenge for Mr. Sunak and the Conservatives, who have repeatedly promised to reduce net migration since winning power in 2010 and take back control of the UK's borders since the Brexit vote. The party's 2019 election manifesto committed to getting the number down, without setting a specific target, while David Cameron once pledged to bring net migration below 100,000 when he was Prime Minister. Immigration is shaping up to be a key issue ahead of the next general election, which is expected in 2024. With Labour leading in opinion polls, Mr. Sunak has vowed to do what is necessary to bring down net migration. Writing in the Sun newspaper, the Prime Minister wrote, "If you can't contribute to the UK, you are not coming to the UK. Our plan will deliver the biggest ever cut in net migration and curb abuse." On top of the new salary requirements, the government said it would. Care workers bringing family dependents to the UK. Spend companies being able to pay workers 20 less than the going rate for jobs on a shortage occupation list. Increase the annual charge foreign workers pay to use the NHS from P624 to PS1035. Raise the minimum income for family visas to PS38,700 from C18,600 from next spring. Ask the government's migration advisor to review the graduate visa route to prevent abuse. The Home Secretary told MPs the changes would take effect in the spring next year. In total, this package, plus our reduction in students' dependence, will mean around 300,000 fewer people will come in future years than have come to the UK last year, Mr. Cleverly told MIPS. The figure of 300,000 is an estimate based on internal Home Office calculations. The Home Office believes the previously announced ban on most overseas students bringing dependents with them will account for almost half of the overall reduction. Labour's shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper said Monday's announcement was an admission of years of Tory failure on both the immigration system and the economy. She said while net migration should come down, the Conservatives were failing to introduce more substantial reforms that link immigration to training and fair pay requirements in the UK, meaning many sectors will continue to see rising numbers of work visas because of skills shortages. Union General Secretary Christina McKenna said the cruel plan spelled total disaster for the NHS and social care. Migrant workers were encouraged to come here because both sectors are critically short of staff. Hospitals and care homes simply couldn't function without them, she said. The plans were welcomed by some Conservative MPs, with former cabinet minister Simon Clarke calling the changes serious and credible steps. But Mr. Cleverly's predecessor as Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, was less impressed. She said the package was too late and the government can go further on salary requirements and shortening the graduate route. Mrs. Braverman claimed she had put forward similar proposals 6 times when she was Home Secretary, but the delay has reduced their impact. She has lambasted the government's record on immigration since she was sacked as Home Secretary by Mr. Sunak last month. Staffing concerns. The latest statistics show the challenge ministers will face in reducing migration into the health sector, which has come to rely heavily on hiring workers from abroad. The government said in the year ending September 2023, 101,000 visas were issued to care workers. An estimated 120,000 visas were granted to the family dependents of those care workers. The government said, the care sector is facing staffing shortages and providers have resisted curbs on their ability to hire foreign workers. The government's migration advisors have previously said persistent underfunding of local councils, which funds most adult social care, is the most important factor in the staffing crisis.